Okay. So we are going to do a bad poetry writing contest. Okay. I mean, not necessarily contest, not like I'm going to award a winner, but yeah, I still might. Who knows? Okay. So what we're going to do is look at. I'm going to show you some bad poetry. Some of it is made up for a story, but one of them is from a real guy who really was a bad poet. And we're going to identify what makes poetry bad. Okay. And then you guys are going to write a bad poem for me. And I want those before Thursday before class so that I can try to read them in my teacher voice for
You
you.
know, Mrs. Strand made us write a math poem. So
Oh,
yesterday,
so that would
I
be
wrote a
bad.
haiku. It was fantastic.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Might
That
just turn that in. We'll see.
that could work. I mean, if you can make somebody do double duty, what the
Yeah,
heck,
you know,
right?
why wouldn't you?
I know. So let me show you. Dun, 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 dun. Where'd it go? Okay. I'm actually going to start down here on the bottom of this page. So, and some of you had mentioned that had me before, mentioned him before. William McGonagall was Scotland's worst poet. Okay, he would write these really long poems, and they were all about disasters. Okay, so this one is about the Tay Bridge disaster. If there was a disaster in Scotland or England, he was there and he was writing a poem about it. And it'd be this long, lush poem, and his language choice was like awkward, and the rhythm didn't work, and the rhymes were often forced, and it's just that the subject matter was so terrible too, you know. I mean, it's so this is his most favorite one, and it's the disaster of the Tay Bridge. I'm going to read it to you, and then you're going to tell me what strikes you as like this is bad. Beautiful railway bridge of silvery Tay, alas, I am very sorry to say that 90 lives have been taken away on this last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. 'Twas about 7 o'clock at night, and the wind it blew with all of its might, and the rain came pouring down, and the dark clouds seemed to frown, and the demon of the air seemed to say, I'll blow down the bridge of Tay. When the train left Edinburgh, the passengers' hearts were light and felt no sorrow. But Boreas blew a terrific gale, which made their hearts for to quail. And many of the passengers with fear did say, I hope God will send us safe across the bridge today, bridge of Tay. But when the train came near to Wormit Bay, Boreas he did loud and angry bray, and shook the central girders of the bridge of Tay on this last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. So the train sped on with all of its might, and Bonnie Dundee soon hove in sight, and the passengers' hearts felt light, thinking they would enjoy themselves on the new year with their friends at home they loved most dear, all wishing them a happy new year. So the train moved slowly along the bridge of Tay until it was about midway. Then the central girders with a crash gave way, and down went the train and the passengers into the Tay. The storm fiend did loudly bray because 90 lives had been taken away on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. As soon as the catastrophe came to be known, the alarm from mouth to mouth was blown, and cry rang out over all the town, Good heavens, the Tay Bridge is blown down! And a passenger train from Edinburgh, which filled all the people's hearts with sorrow, and made them for to turn pale, because none of the passengers were safe to tell the tale, how the disaster happened on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. It must have been an awful sight to witness in the dusky moonlight, while the storm fiend did laugh and angry did bray, along the river railway bridge to the silvery Tay. Oh, ill-fated bridge of the silvery Tay! I must now conclude my lay by telling the world fearlessly, without the least dismay, that your central girders would not have given way, at least many sensible men do say, had they been supported on each side with buttresses. And at least many sensible men confesses, for the stronger we are, our houses do build, the less chance we have of being killed. Ta-da! Okay, tell me your impressions of this poem.
Really rhymed for no reason. He just kept saying, "Yep, people died." They
Well,
built
I
it
mean,
better.
he's creating this long epic narrative, right? So it's too long for no good reason. Okay, what else?
I don't know, the rhyme scheme just feels so like forced, and it kind of makes the whole like fact that people died, I don't know, it just like takes away the like meaning of it, I guess. It
Yeah,
makes it seem kind of like childish.
yeah, I was gonna say it feels like kind of a sing-song nursery rhyme, and people died today. You're like, it just kind of ruins the whole. I don't know. I love this last couplet, or actually the last two. Had they been supported on each side of the buttresses, at least many simple, sensible men confesses. What is that? For the stronger we our houses do build, the less chance we have of being killed. Everybody should just have that motto on their living room walls somewhere. I don't know. It could be. Yeah. What else makes this go, ugh, why did I read this? I mean, look at his pacing is just weird, you know? So we have this long, 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 long line, short line. I mean, there's no consistency to it. There's
It's very
there's
random.
yeah. And then so sometimes he really makes a rhyme continue, and then suddenly he just kind of stops. It's just unpredictable. So something that's bad, it's too long for its own good, for no good reason. The forced rhyme scheme makes it feel silly instead of somber.
Tragic.
Tragic, yeah, it's supposed to be tragic, and instead you're like, oh my gosh. So when he would perform his poems, okay, he thought he was the greatest poet. He wrote like over 100 poems or something. I mean, there's a horrible one that I couldn't find right off the bat, about a family dying in a fire. And he goes into detail about how the mother must have been screaming and the children screaming, the father outside. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, have some
Like,
sense of decorum here. Um, but he would perform these pieces, and people would go, and one account was that they started throwing food at him because it was so bad. But he's like, you just don't know any better. And then there was this group of people who would set him up on the stage and pay for him to perform his poetry. Um, and then they would sit and snigger in the audience. They were just laughing at him, but he thought that they loved him, and he just totally did not understand why he wasn't considered a great poet. So
That's
he was
kind of
horrible. What?
so that's kind of sad.
It is
Hiring to
sad.
make fun of him.
It is
He thought it
sad.
was
I mean,
great.
if you're getting paid, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
He
But, like
didn't
he
really,
thought they loved him. That's the just
yeah,
oh
he didn't realize that they were making fun of him
yeah.
all the time. Some of the audience he did know, but others he didn't know. Now, in Harry Potter, we have Professor McGonagall, and J.K. Rowling specifically gave her the same name as this author, this poet, William McGonagall, because she loved the idea of this very astute, smart, serious professor being related to this horrible Scottish poet.
I feel like I read that. Like I read that somewhere, or maybe you
Yeah,
said it while we were
it's
while we
probably
were
me.
doing Harry Potter last year.
Yeah, it's probably told you. But yeah, I'm like, I love that. It's just so much fun. Okay, so the other excerpts I've given you are from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I know Antonio knows well. And so there is a section here, and on the website I've put the little video clip of them reading this. So the worst poet in the universe is her name is Paula Nancy Millstone Jennings. And she was a poet who wrote the worst poetry in the universe. In fact, her poetry is still considered to be worse in the galaxy, closely followed by that of the Asgoths of Korea and the Vogons in that order. And so here's an address that they made up, and here is an excerpt of her poetry. So I got this off a fan website. I don't think Douglas Adams actually wrote this. I think a fan wrote this, and then they decided it was the worst, and they put it up on the website. So I'm going to read you this one, and you're going to decide what makes it bad. The dead swans lay in the stagnant pool. They lay, they rotted. They turned round occasionally, bits of flesh dropping off from them from time to time, and sank into the pool's mire. They also smelt a great deal. All right. What are your impressions of that poem?
It's just unnecessary. There's no reason for it to be written.
I agree with that.
It's unnecessary. What's unnecessary about it?
I did not need to ever hear that poem. I never was like, man, dead swans. We should write a poem about that.
Okay,
Like,
so like the topic is really inappropriate. Right? Or you go, what? Yeah, why would you write a poem about this topic?
think of all the things in the world, dead swans.
Yeah, yeah. And then when we have this dead swan poem, all we're given is this image, which is a gross image. It's disgusting. The image is not enlightening or uplifting or thought-provoking in any way. It's just like, ugh, gross. What's the point to this? Okay. So then we've got this disgusting image that does nothing. It helps nothing. It doesn't enlighten us in any way. And then we have, it also smelts a great deal. You know, well, that's going to be obvious. It's going to stink. Thank you for bringing in that detail that we didn't know about. So we've got this imagery that is just like gross, and there's just no purpose for this. Absolutely none at all. So remember when you guys did your 10 poems like a week or two ago, and I had you rate them, and those are a lot of fun to read people's ratings, because there were some people who loved a certain poem, and then the next person I read will go, I hated this poem. What was the point? It was that way. I mean, I could find every single poem. I get people who find it, who loved it, and others who like, this was a waste of
The oatmeal one was so disappointing. It was about oatmeal because I hate oatmeal so much, and that was literally what like took points off of it for me, because I liked the poem, but I was like, God, oatmeal, like, and I wrote that. I think I wrote that.
Couldn't have been French toast, you
Like,
know?
literally anything else. I'm like, you know what? You have to take points off taste for this author, because he could have been eating anything else, and he decided oatmeal.
We didn't know. Could have been grits, you know, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Anything, literally anything else.
So that's exactly, because then I had some people like, this is the most fun poem. It just really made me think. And you're like, I hate this. I hate this. So
Like,
think about,
oatmeal.
yeah, so think about what it was in those 10 poems that you're like, yeah, I did not like that poem. And you're going to try to incorporate some of those elements that you hated into your poem, okay? So continuing on with this book, there's also, so they give you, Douglas Adams did write a couple of poems about from these worst poets, okay? So one of them was an ode to a small lump of green putty I found in my armpit one midsummer morning, okay? And during a reading of the poem, 4 audience members died of internal hemorrhaging. And the president of the Mid-Galactic Arts Nobbling Council survived by gnawing off one of his own legs. Gunthros is reported to have been disappointed by the poem's reception. This poetic reading was direct cause of Gunthros' old very large intestine leaping up through his body and throttling his brain. So here's this bad poem. And think about what for you makes it bad. Putty, putty, putty. Green putty. Gruddy peen. Grarm pitty. Oh, why am I reading this out loud? Morning. Pridsummer. Groaning uddy. Discovery. Oh, putty. Armpit. Armpit. Putty. Not even a particularly nice shade of green. As I lick my armpit, and we shall agree that this putty is very well green. So, it feels a little bit like, this is the next one. This part feels kind of like a mix between Dr. Seuss and E.E. Cummings to me. You know, E.E. Cummings had that one with the roses in the garden, and it's all these weird little word thingies, and then you've got like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing mixed in there. Okay. What else makes this a bad poem?
I feel like the topic, just itself.
Yeah, the topic again is like, thanks, they don't need that. And then we got all this fun wordplay. Now, wordplay is just fine, but if nobody knows what you're doing with it, or if you're just flipping, parts of words around, what's the point?
Yeah.
As Sophie would say, move on. Let's get on. We're
Yeah.
on
Let's
this.
just head
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, we don't need this. Okay. So here's the last one. And this is the one that is being read to them in that movie clip that I put out. You can look at later. I'm going to do my best. Oh, freddled grunt bugly, thy micturations are to me as plurtled gabbled blotchets on a lurgid bee. Group, I implore thee, my frunting trilling drums, and hooptiously drangle me with crinkly bender wordles. Or I will rend thee in the gobber watts with my burgle cruncheon. See if I don't. Okay, what makes this bad?
It just doesn't make sense. Personally, I don't understand.
Yeah, half the words or more than half the words are made up. The words are nonsensical. You can't understand it. Okay, yep. Makes it bad. All right. So this is your task, is to write your own bad poem. Okay, so I wrote little lists here. We're going along. So bad poems, too long for their own good. There's no reason why it's being written. The topic is a terrible choice of topic. Either it's inappropriate or it's just gross, or there's like no reason to be writing about this. Rhyme scheme is like really forced or irregular, or it seems to follow a pattern that it doesn't anymore. Words are nonsensical. You can't understand them, what's going on. Imagery is gross, unnecessary, unpleasant. There's nothing enlightening. There's nothing that makes your mind go, oh, I hadn't even thought of that before, None of those things happen, which is what we want to have happen with poetry. You want to read it and go, wow, that's interesting, or that's giving me something new to think about, or look how they created this. Okay, so this is your task, is to write me a bad poem, and stop share. So you're gonna write me a bad poem, and you're going to share it with me by Thursday morning. Is that doable?
Heck yeah, we're all good.
Totally, we totally got this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and end it.